All right, guys. Welcome back to the Stocks and Sales podcast. Super excited to be back again with John, the chef Tiliakos, and Aaron Ellis. I can never say John, the chef, without it just sounding like you're a freaking mobster, who goes by the chef, because you cut people up or something. It just sounds so tough, right? I love it.
I left my butcher knife somewhere else. Sorry.
Yeah, that would have been really cool if you had just pulled it up right there. No, but and we're also joined today by Michael, who also goes by Monarch in our Discord. He is a former student, ongoing, forever student, but who is formerly, taken John and Aaron's classes, mastermind, so on and so forth. So we're going to talk to, Monarch. I'm going to call you. Let's call you Mike today. I don't want to call you Monarch. I always use usernames. So let's do Mike today. We're gonna call you Mike, and we're gonna get to know Mike a little bit more. Continue getting to know John and Aaron better. As opposed to our last episodes as well. If you guys missed that one, definitely go check it out. Tons of really valuable tidbits from John and Aaron. But I want to just jump in and get to know Mike a little bit better and kind of get the conversation rolling. Mike, tell us about yourself, man. Where are you from? How did you find your edge previously and all that kind of stuff?
So, from Dallas, Texas, born and raised, schooled out in Houston, Texas. Came back to Dallas, started working, and then I got into the entrepreneur ventures around, a little bit after working in corporate America, about 2 or 3 years. Started pursuing some different business ventures and ended up in the trucking industry. Had a company that I ran for about a year and a half to 2 years before I finally got out. But during that time, I knew that I wanted to make a change. And when I was, in high school and coming up in college, trading is something that I always wanted to do. Studying finance and economics, I felt like, oh yeah, I just go to college, I study finance and economics. You just by default, someone's going to teach you how to learn how to trade or something like that. But I just didn't really have any guidance. My parents are, we're first generation here in America, so I only know what they know, and they can only tell me their best judgment of things. So you don't know what you don't know. So along the way, after completing college and getting into the workforce and trying some business ventures, I always thought, okay, hey, after building up some businesses, tearing down some businesses, trying new things, learning new things constantly every year, making new goals, I started to build the idea that, hey, it's never too late to learn anything, and if you do something long enough, you can't get worse. So I decided that I wanted to start learning how to trade again. And I came across this group that was on YouTube randomly on a YouTube short back in, I believe it was 2022, about August, around there in 2022. And it piqued my interest again. So I immediately, followed, started to do some research, watch some of their online content, and then I eventually joined their Discord. Spent quite a large sum of money on that Discord at the time, especially being in trucking. What was a substantial amount for me at that time. I spent on this Discord, thinking that it was going to be like the secret sauce to learning how to trade. Long story short, I got into that particular Discord and didn't learn much. The even the online training that they sold me on, the archive trading online on the dashboard, were incomplete. They were supposed to be released every week. They stopped releasing them after like the 4th week, and the actual videos were like 2 minutes. Not to talk down on anyone, I'm just telling you, this is what I went through. So, no one.
This wasn't with us, by the way. Anybody watching, this wasn't us or even Find Your Edge.
No, definitely not Find Your Edge. Definitely not Stock Dads. But just not to name any names or down anyone. It was an old Discord at the time, and but all that to say is I spent a substantial amount of the money that I was making in trucking on this Discord while I was trucking, over the road, 11, 15-hour days, because I really wanted to do it. And in that Discord, though, I did find an analyst who had his own private sessions. I was still hungry to learn, and I didn't like the idea that I had to come into the Discord that I, just purchased and had to now start purchasing to get some actual classes, and not what I was actually purchased, but I did it because I was hungry to learn. In that private training that he held, I came across John. He was, working with him in some capacity, or they were friends or colleagues, and he just happened to jump on that training and was teaching a master class, not a master class. He was teaching a class. I can't even remember what the class was that day. John, you probably don't even remember what class I'm even referring to. But in that class, I was in there maybe about 5 minutes, and the way that John was breaking down, the charts and trading as a whole. And again, at the time, I was in my journey maybe about 2 months before I came across John. So, you know, things just started to click when I listened to him for about 5 minutes, and then I immediately spammed the chat and said, "Hey, where can we find you? Like, how can we find more? Like, all this stuff." And John literally said, "Hey guys, look, I'm not here to sell anything. I'm not here to take away from anything. I'm just here to teach this. So if you guys need, just refer to the gentleman who was teaching the class at the time." And literally, like, didn't give context or anything. So still, I was hungry for it. So I just, during the meeting, I looked him up on Discord, like all these different names. I think I messaged like 5 or 6 different Johns, trying to find him. Then eventually he replied. Then I joined, followed his Discord. Started. I didn't even join the time. The story behind how I got super involved with John is very elaborate. But we worked together in some capacity, and he brought me on and mentored me. I was driving from Chicago at the time to Dallas. I got on a phone call with JT. Like I told JT, I said, he called me the first time. I said, "Hey, I'll call you back in 5 minutes." I had just pulled off of a truck stop, so I was about to head straight to Dallas. It was like 11 p.m. I was going to drive all night. I turned around. It was about a mile and a half. I had to turn around with the load back to the truck stop because I wanted to get to a quiet area to talk to John because I was deadly serious about this. So I went to the truck stop. I stopped, and John remembers I was yelling on the phone. I was like, "Yeah, yeah." He was like, "So what are your goals?" I was like, "Well, these are my goals. This is what I want to do. I just want to be consistent. I want to make it happen. I want to be a sponge. I want to soak up everything I can, and I just want to learn." And at the time, he said, "Just forget everything you know about trading or everything you think you know. You just need to focus on the psychology first, and you'll understand a lot more of everything else, later." And from there, long story short, the rest is history. I followed John, training and, guidance this whole time. It's been about 16 months now. I've been actually trading. About 16 months. It's July now, so it's July 2nd. So it's been about 16 months I've actually been trading, and yeah, still learning from John. Some of the most valuable things that I've learned to, make me what I consider, myself successful in trading, just because I am net positive from what I put in, and that's what my goal was from the get-go. And it's a hero. So, I mean, you're going to lose for years and years and years. And I was like, yeah, I understand that's a possibility, but I don't want to lose. And you know what I'm saying? It's, John,
can we skip that part? Like, is there a way to somehow skip that part of the process? We don't want the losing part. Like, John, teach us how to not do that, right? That'd be nice.
He can teach you ways for sure, man. How to not put up all your money and risk all your capital. There's because I traded 24/7. It was a point in time I wasn't working, I wasn't doing anything but trading. I was trading, and I trade with some different prop firms, thanks to John pointing me in that direction, and try lots of different strategies. But I was able to use a little bit of my money without risking an exorbitant amount of my money, and learning in the first parts of this journey to actually get to a place where I can find consistency without having the story of taking a second mortgage out of my house and going into debt 100, 200, and 300K. I don't have those stories. Like, the extent of my debt at all throughout this journey was about maybe about 14 to 15K. It's a little bit more now because I bought more, and I count when I say this is because I buy evaluation accounts, I buy PAs, and then then I also counted like some of the training that I did in getting started with trading and things like that. But from what I've taken out from prop and the money I've invested into master classes, continuing education, mentorships, I'm net positive by far. And again, it's been 16 months, and we're just getting started, man. Just getting started.
So you took a lot of you took time, you took energy, you made the concerted efforts, and you invested in yourself, and it was expensive because you maybe had some rocky mentors and stuff along the way, rocky discords or whatever along the way, and that's a story. Unfortunately, that's as old as time. We hear it all the time. Not to toot Stock Dad's horn, but we hear it constantly. Man, I'm so glad I found you. Like, I've tried 10 different discords and they all sucked and whatever. And now here we are. But it's cool to watch or to hear how you were so driven that you were willing to keep trying, and you knew this was possible. You just needed to find kind of that right mentor, that right style that worked for you. Again, something we constantly talk about. And now you've made your money back from your invested in the education and stuff like that, and now you're net positive in a really short amount of time. So I wanted to ask John, kind of what was it like working with Michael in the beginning, knowing how hungry he was, and like this dude. Have you ever had to work like so hard to not have a student come find you? Were you like trying to hide?
I actually remember. I actually do remember this, Michael. So yeah, we had an analyst in our Discord, and sometimes we collectively did sessions together. And so one of those sessions, I ended up coming on, and people got to know me, and then it was like, wait a second, who is this guy? So at that point, again, what I was trying to do is not necessarily, okay, I wasn't trying to poach people from other people, outright. Okay, we're not trying to do that here. But what I was trying to do was actually help the people that were there and then say, hey, I like this guy. Like, if I like this guy enough, I'm going to go out there. And why is that important? Because that individual is driven, right? And they want to go out there and seek that. So Michael is a driven person. Michael has been driven ever since I've met this guy, and he has been through it. And we've had many of phone calls, me and Michael. We've been on the phone for over an hour, multiple times, just talking about life even. But the funny thing is that Michael really, I remember when Michael really made that turn, and that was last year. And Michael made the turn, and he has not looked back. And it's been incredible because we all go through periods of times where we have losses and things like that, especially as a trader in the beginning. But never at any point was Michael not driven to continue to find his edge, right? And to find what works best for him, and then to maintain that discipline to lead to consistency and to the payouts that he has now gotten from multiple firms, which is amazing. Not a lot of people can say that they've had multiple payouts from multiple firms. Michael's one of those students, and Michael is a testament to hard work and discipline that, all that's possible with the right mindset. You're not going to sit here and get rich quick tomorrow. And Michael understood that, but he knew that if he put in the work, he was going to have that ability to make that extra cash to eventually open up his his ability to do whatever he wants in life. So
Yeah, I think
if I
it's
could say,
yeah. Go ahead, Aaron.
if I could say something about Michael to piggyback on JT, I met Monarch a couple years ago, almost 3 years ago, I think. And there's a great quote that comes to mind when you talk about him, and that is, it's hard to beat somebody who just won't quit, right? And Mike was really good at, looking at things objectively. Like he never let, like, if you want to, I don't like the term failures or whatever. He broke these down, right? And looked at why did this happen? Why did this happen? How can I correct this? And he was very studious and objective when it came to, it's almost like, he knew there was a way to do this, right? Other people have done it. Other people have come before him and done it, right? So he could objectively break down flaws of his own or things that he needed to improve upon, break them down, look at them objectively, and then put a plan into practice that would correct these certain mistakes. And it was really exciting to see, to watch his progression, from the very first time that he attended one of the classes that we were doing and getting to know him through the Discord, and then just watching him, you know, it's kind of like when you're trying to get from point A to point B, and that is your ultimate goal, you don't really give a crap who you ask for help along the way, right? You're like, I want to get here. So I'm going to ask this person. I'm going to ask this person. If they've got some information that's going to help me get to where I want to be, I'm as humble as they come. Tell me, I'm, like you said, I'm a sponge. Just show me these little pieces and help me get to here. And he was so good at objectively just uh, breaking down those, and being self-aware, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's one of the most common things that I see regularly when it comes to like who becomes a successful trader and who sticks around in our community for the long term. And now that we've been around for 4 going on 5 years, it's starting to be easier to identify like the trends of like who's going to be successful and who's not, just by interacting with them. And one of the things that I tend to see as a trend is you don't have to be like gifted, like from a mindset, or like you don't have to be like a genius to be a professional trader. You don't have to be like naturally gifted in some way other than just grit and determination and the willingness to just keep pushing through failures and obstacles. And some people have less obstacles and barriers and it takes them quicker, and some have more. But at the end of the day, the ones that are just like truly determined, the ones that are showing up for our live sessions, like the ones that are included in the membership, that are showing up in the chats and asking questions and trying to absorb the all of the different resources. If you're willing to do those things, I've seen those people be successful time after time. It just the amount of time it takes sometimes varies, right? One thing also that I've seen as far as expediting people's process and that journey is finding a good mentor, right? And Mike, you mentioned you had some rough experiences and you found John, and then like your experience and your stuff kind of did a full 180, and now you've taken that time and that investment and you've turned it into profitability much sooner. So if you just talk a little bit about kind of what having a mentor means to you. Do you feel like it, looking back on it now and the time and money that you invested into learning from John and stuff and Aaron, do you feel like that's been a valuable investment for you?
100%. Being involved, for instance, in the Discord, like asking questions, like Aaron mentioned, getting from point A to point B. You don't care how you get there. You just need to do whatever it takes and ask ask questions, whether they're good questions or dumb questions. But if you clear up your doubts with dumb questions, you start asking better questions, but you have to get in the practice of asking questions to begin with. And getting in the Discord, listen, prop firms and trading wasn't always accessible to me in my bedroom on a laptop. You have to be on the floor, right? So I think, and this is something that my mentor John told me as well. If the way you trade is the way you're going to treat life, and listen, I can't roll out of bed and just flip up my laptop half asleep before the news just to look up, what kind of trade or setup I'm gonna look up. I'm gonna take today for 5 minutes. No, you have to get up, be engaged in the Discord, get into the sessions early with Aaron, in the breakdown of the market, see what's going on. Even if you don't believe you need it, just to get your juices going, to wake up, get in the habit of being a professional. Because if you want to make real money, you have to take this seriously. And the emotional part of it is something that I don't believe we're ever going to be able to escape, but I believe that we're always going to be able to manage it. And to manage it, you have to continuously put yourself in an environment where you're better equipped to handle those types of emotions. You're in tune with how you feel in those times. You are aware of when you're going on tilt and you need to back off and things like that. So I have my set stops and losses, and I know how I feel when I lose a trade the first time. So I know how to scale back after a first loss. I know how I feel after a win on the first trade. So I know how to set a limit on how much I leverage on the next trade and when to stop for the day. So all that to say, though, just being absorbed with the market and the education, reinvesting into yourself. If you get a payout, reinvest into yourself. I promise. Because once you have the knowledge, you can't take it away. I could lose the money. I could lose the accounts. I could lose a lot of things. I could lose a lot of money. But if I know how to make it again, then that's invaluable, because you can't take my knowledge away.
So I can obviously tell, Mike, that you've learned from these guys. I mean, you literally said the exact thing that Aaron said in the last episode, which was, you can't, once you get that knowledge, right, you can't take it from you. And I think that's a really powerful concept, because I think there's so many people that are just, nervous to put money into their education, but they're super okay with throwing it into account and just blowing it, even though they don't know what they're doing. But I wanted to bring it back to Aaron on that concept. And I think, you've obviously imparted knowledge on Mike. John, JT has imparted a ton of knowledge on Mike. Both of you guys have had some sort of impact on him. What do you see as his potential in the future as a trader, now that he is so empowered with knowledge? And what do you, and just his personality in general, what do you think? What do you think is coming for Mike?
I think obviously the sky's the limit. As he reiterated what I had said earlier, was, he gets it. He gets that once you have that knowledge, that nobody can take it from you. I think with Mike, if I was to sit down with Mike, I think we all do this as traders. Once we get to a certain point where we see consistent profitability, us as driven individuals, right? We always think, okay, what's next, right? What's next? What's next? And trading is, like I said, if I was to sit down with Mike, trading is strange when it comes to that, because once you find things that work for you, right? Don't want to mess with them to try to make them. You can always make them better. Don't get me wrong, but we're always looking for, okay, what's my next step? And I can tell Mike's one of those type of guys, right? Like, okay, I got to this point. What's my next step? What's my next goal? What's my next step? And taking the knowledge that you have and the successes that you've had doing certain things, and being able to get that to a point where it's borderline automatic. You don't have to think, right? You're like, if this goes here and this does this, I do this, right? Instead of trying to complicate it and tweak it to just maybe make it better here or make it better there. Trading's a strange dynamic when it comes to that, because a lot of times what will happen with traders, and I've been guilty of this as well, is okay, I've got this working. All right, got that working. I'm on to the next thing. What's the next thing? I got to get that working. Where then I neglect what got me there in the first place, right? So it's kind of that strange thing with us. Like I said, as driven individuals, we want that next cool thing. So the sky's the limit for Mike, and I can see him going into uh, different realms of the financial world, right? You got the smaller time frame, your 9 to 5, you're punching out payouts. You're getting to that point. Okay, well, now that I've got that, maybe I want to move into something that's working all the time for me, right? Where I'm not having to put in so much effort all the time. So there's all these places. Once you can read a chart is a chart is a chart, right? And once we understand how the market moves, it moves the same on a daily time frame, a weekly time frame, and smaller time frames. So I can see for Mike, number one, you know, just keep banging out those payouts. And that's the cool thing about trading is we can continue to do the same things over and over and over and just increase our size and make more money, right? Somebody takes the exact same trade as another person, exact same entry, exact same exit. One guy makes 10 grand, another guy makes $100. Who's the better trader? Well, there's no difference. One just had a larger account size, right? That's what it is. So I'm just excited in the way that Mike, like I said earlier, can objectively look at and be self-aware enough to objectively look at things he needs to improve upon, break them down, put them back together, and use that as a tool, saying, hey, this doesn't mean I'm doing something that internally is wrong to me as a person. It's just I think a lot of traders go through that where they internalize, right? They internalize trading, they internalize losses. Well, when you can look at something objectively and saying, okay, and break it down and put it back together and say, okay, let's put slot A back into slot B now and see if this is working better for me, and continue to do that, right? And I think as long as someone like Mike maintains that, the sky's the limit, because there's always going to be mistakes that we make, and as long as we're self-aware enough to realize them and break them down and say, okay, this is what I did. I'm not going to do that anymore, or I'm going to do it this way instead, and move on to and just keep moving forward, keep moving forward, keep moving forward. March at dawn, right? Right,
Yes,
Mike?
sir.
Yeah, John. I'm interested in kind of your perspective on you talked about what you think makes Mike successful and what made him a great student. But I want you to elaborate a little bit more on that. I think, like you've taught a lot of people now. I mean, like you said, this is not your first rodeo. You've got a bunch of students and a bunch of very successful traders that have kind of learned under your tutelage. And now they don't all follow your exact systems. Some do. Some have gone and evolved into their own. But what is the common thread? Like, what if you had to describe a student, that if you could look at two students and this one's not going to be successful and this one is, what separates those two? And like what makes a successful, or like the best chance of success as a student?
So I think that what Mike will tell you too is that something that I teach, and we talked about this in the last episode, is understanding how the market is feeling about an asset. And when a student is able to interpret that, then everything that they know and everything that they learn, even if it's not from me, that gives them that edge to take their trading to the next level. And I think that Mike will tell you that part of understanding the psychology of like how the market is reacting at a particular level and understanding what that means is what separates some of my successful students versus the ones that haven't necessarily gotten that far. And I think that is as simple as it sounds. Is when I teach it, and that's something that I will also pat myself on the back just a tad. A lot of my students have told me point blank, the way that you teach makes it so easy for me to understand. Aaron and I both are on the same level or same wavelength, where what we're trying to do is to make sure that anybody that we're trying to mentor is going to understand what we're saying to them. I can sit here and say, like we were talking about earlier, we can draw lines on a chart and say, okay, when it goes here, do this. When it goes there, do that. If you don't understand the why behind that, if you don't actually understand the context or explain that to somebody, they're just not going to get it. So if we can actually make that possible and give people the knowledge to take that and then they can apply that, then the sky's the limit for them. And I think that again is what separates the successful traders from the not so successful traders. Because I've had students that, Nate is one of my students, and Mike knows Nate, and Nate will tell you, hey, I was 3 classes in, and whatever JT taught me, even at that point, which was, about that same subject, was literally what catapulted me into a whole new realm. So that's what I would say, DJ. Again, understanding, being able to deliver to people a different aspect of understanding how people are feeling about an asset and from a psychological standpoint, and then being able to take advantage of that is what takes a trader to the next level. And that's what I like to focus on.
One of the things I hear all the time, and you see it, on social media, and I know there are some examples of where, people don't use their marketing abilities for good or whatever. But I'm interested to know, I'll ask the question that a lot of people think, which is, if you guys are so good at trading, right, and you make all this money trading, why bother teaching? And second part of that, why do you charge for it? Why don't you just give it out for free? So I want each of you to answer that question, and then I'm gonna rephrase that question for Mike. So
okay.
Aaron, let's start with you, Aaron. Like, why do you teach, and why don't you? I mean, you do teach for free all the time, or at least included in the membership constantly. But let's talk about the actual sauce, right? The mastermind stuff. Let's talk about that. Like, if you're so good, why do you need the extra money from teaching, and why do you even bother?
Well, I think what a lot of people don't understand is this is a business like any other business. Okay, meaning, it's not for me. I don't want to sit in a dark basement and trade all day, and that's my life, right? That's not what I do. I'm not contributing, right? Contributing. I'm not contributing anything to those around me if I do that, right? The only thing I'm doing is taking something else when someone's selling it and buying something else when someone's selling it. And, I'm not contributing anything. I grew up in an environment, that I was fortunate enough that, you kind of made your own way, right? Like you needed to work hard, and you needed to be, kind to people, and you needed to show others, you know, the way, so to speak, from point A to point B. So for me to be able to teach, right, is that jazzes me more, and always will, than catching 50 points on the NASDAQ or something. Like, always, like, no matter what. That is, trading to me is a means, like, for income. It doesn't describe who I am, right? Who I am, I feel, is someone who wants to give back to other people and show other people what they can do. Like, as I've said, when former students come back and say, "Hey, I did this," or there's one in particular that comes to mind. I won't mention his name, but seeing what he's been able to do, for those and those around him, uh, because of things, and I had a small part in that. There's there's nothing better to me than that. There's I will always teach, whether I'm, you know, am just investing, right? And looking at charts once a week, I'll still teach. I'll teach, I'll teach, I'll teach. If I can be a small part of improving someone, if someone is better off having known me, then that's what gets me going every single day. And as far as charging for what I do, that is a business. What I do is a business, right? It's just like any other business. And I've got expenses. I've got, all these things. I've got kids and rent and, you know, business expenses, et cetera, et cetera. And I want to make my business viable. Me as I don't want to say brand. That's not the right term, but me as a business and being able to use the knowledge that I've gained in the past, right? It's no different than someone going to college, right? And then going and being a teacher, right? And getting paid to teach. That's how I look at it. And I firmly believe 100%, because I know this from personal experience, that people put more emphasis on something they have invested in than they do something they get for free, right? If you give somebody something for free, they can take it, they can leave it. They invest in themselves, right? They 100% want something out of it. They want a return on their investment in themselves, right? So, that's where I'm coming from as far as being able to teach. I love the lives in the morning. I love the interaction. Excuse me. I love the nooners. I love the interaction. I love getting little quips from people saying, "Hey, oh my gosh, you were talking about this and I did it and it worked," and so cool, right? So being able to be a part of someone's journey, no matter how big or how small that is, that's what keeps me driven more than anything.
Sure. John, let's hear from you. Same question. If you're so good at trading, why do you need to teach? And or why do you want to teach? Why do you bother teaching? And if you're gonna teach, and why do you need to charge for it if you're so good at trading?
So if we go back to the last episode, I was a finance major in college. I went to school and had desires to be involved in the equity markets. When I graduated, it was the financial crisis and there weren't many jobs available. The one thing that I wanted to do was to help other people because I knew how the financial industry worked. I have a friend of mine that's also in it. He still has his business from when he graduated. I'm very familiar with the business model. I know how it works. So many people give their money to XYZ firm on the street corner and just let it go, and those people eat their money year after year. All the while, there are plenty of capable individuals that if they have the desire to make better returns on their own, if they're willing to put in the work. And for me as an individual, that's what I've always been driven to do. I actually created, and I have a screenshot. I created a Twitter account back in 2010 for Find Your Edge Trading. And it's not something that I was really able to take advantage of at the time because I don't think Discord existed. And it was something that I wanted to do because I know that everybody has a different personality, and that goes to finding your edge, helping an individual find their edge. Well, why do I strive to teach and not just trade and keep my money and do it by myself? Listen, I have all these years in the seat. I've seen charts go up and down for probably millions of hours at this point. It's unbelievable to be able to share that with somebody else. And at the end of the day, if I can help somebody who is serious, as Aaron says, who's willing to put in a little bit of money and their time into something, that's somebody that I want to help because they're driven, because they want to do that. And I think that my time is worthy. Nobody's time. There's how many professions are there out there? Whether it's a skill, even in sports, you'll pay a trainer to do this. You'll pay a trainer to do that. Let me ask you a question. All of those trainers, are they sitting there still playing basketball after they're after 40 years old, they've hung it up? No, they still want to help other people if they have the ability to teach and be a great coach, or vice versa, any of those professional skills. So I don't see trading as any different. I don't see that being a mentor for other students is any different. And honestly, I pride myself in what I do, and I believe that because I'm able to produce students that are able to do things on their own, that's valuable to society, and in turn, I am valuable.
Yep. No, yep, for sure. I'm going to give my input for sure as well. But before I do, I want to hear Mike. I want to hear your perspective. You mentioned earlier, like when you were first starting, you joined a Discord, and you didn't love that you had to join the Discord and then pay extra for classes after that and stuff. And I'm just kind of interested to hear your perspective on investing in yourself, investing in knowledge, investing in a mentor, classes and stuff. Has your perspective changed on that? Do you feel like having to pay for something like that now at the point in your journey where it's shifted? What's your perspective on that?
Yeah. Man, I love this question. They said some good stuff there, and I will say this. If someone is serious about learning anything in life, doesn't matter about trading or anything, if you're serious, the question going on in your mind is, man, if you're making all this money, why are you teaching? No, I'm so grateful that you are even here to teach me this. Like, what do I need to do? For me, at least, I think it's a no-brainer when, a mentor like John or Aaron is around or exists, because, where else are you going to be able to find this information? Like I said, I went to college. I studied finance and economics, and I paid tens of thousands of dollars. And that doesn't include, room and board, from the poor apartment I was staying in, and books and all that stuff. And I got out of college and worked in the mortgage industry, initially. I studied finance and economics. I was working as an MSR analyst, mortgage. It doesn't matter, honestly. But the point is, everyone is willing to go to college or spend $300 on a surge account, excuse me, no names, but on a prop account, and blow it and buy another one back to back to back, and spend maybe $2,000 to $3,000 in a matter of a month or less, or 2 months. But they won't take those same funds to be serious about themselves. And like John and Aaron mentioned, it's the buy-in, the think about it. Who else is going to create a community for like-minded traders to congregate and then manage that community, have access to all these different analysts where you can learn and plug in and have value driven to you from the moment you wake 24/7, without having to, garner some type of, something back for that. It's not, time is, serious people know that time is of the essence. Why would I spend time on things that, why would I spend, yes, I love helping people, but the buy-in, the minimum buy-in for me to take you seriously, because they probably know a lot better than me, but I know from things that I've done that people can talk a good game, but when you'll see if they're walking the walk by the actions that they take. And the minimum action is finding a solution to getting the funds to join a masterclass or to get a prop account or to do whatever it takes to get the information that you seek. So I don't think it ever even crossed my mind, like, why these guys, if these guys are so successful, why are they teaching us? I don't care. I don't care. I just want to learn. Tell me what I need to do to learn, and that is it. But I do know that if that is the question that's posed, these gentlemen can be doing anything. If they're making this money, they could be spending it with their family. They don't need to sit on a live with us, talking to us. We're here trying to get better. They don't have to be here. So if they're going to be here, their time needs to be compensated. Because I know for me, for instance, even some things nowadays, listen, if it's more than like, time is, I'll just say this, time is so crucial. So depending on what you put value on depends on, how we can see this question. But I will say that the compensation for a service or a business like this is the bare minimum. The bare minimum. You should be getting a refresher masterclass every year or two, or more. Like, you need to remember the basics that got you here. You need to be receptive to information. The market is constantly evolving. It's going to move differently this summer than it is going to move in the fall. By this time next summer, it's going to move a little bit differently. Maybe, who knows? We don't know. But why not plug into the information with the people who are doing it 24/7, who garner large amounts of people who are sourcing this information, who's plugged into this more than yourself, to get this information. So my thing is, like I said, I spent an absorbent amount on the first Discord that I joined because I knew that information cost. And if you want to make it in life, you have to pay to play sometimes. And I didn't question anyone when they said, "Hey, take out these loans, get this financial aid, go into debt for college." I didn't question anything. Why? Because I knew that when I got out of college, I would have a job. At least I thought. I thought I would come out of college, get my degree, I would have a job, and I'd be set. I'd be making like $60K a year, $70K. I'd retire, blah, blah, blah. But no, as you move in life, you're exposed to new information. With this new information, you can make better decisions, have a better field of play. So when I'm introduced to something like trading, and I know that other people are doing it, well, I just need to find out what other people did to find this type of consistency and do it, because they've done it, so it can be done. So I can go and pay tens of thousands for college, and I'm not saying college is bad. College is great, especially if you're going into like science or medicine or things like that. But for me, I'm not ashamed to admit my goal is not very elaborate. I want to make a lot of money because I want to take care of my family and I want to live on my terms. And money is a tool that I can use to create that lifestyle for my family. I just want to wake up and be able to work on a business with my lovely lady, or my friends and family, or take the week off and spend time with my nieces and nephews. Like, I want to have that option, but I can only have that option if I do the things that, if I follow the path and do the things that can get me there. And working a 9 to 5 won't necessarily get me there. It'll be a good, stable, foundation to help me get to where I would like to go. But, if you want to get from point A to point B, you have to have a boat. And the boat is the mentor who will teach you what you need to know to become the person you want to be. So it's very important. If anyone, talks, why are you doing that? They're not serious. Serious people want the answers. They don't want the why. We'll understand the why, but what are the action steps? What do I need to do? So that's my perspective on it.
Yeah. No, I love that perspective. And I'm gonna rant for a second, because this is something I hear all the time, and it's something where, obviously is very prevalent in this business, is the misconception because of the scammers that are out there and the ones that don't take this seriously, or the ones that don't know how to trade, but they do know how to market really well. So they sell these courses and it's lacking in substance and there's nothing to it, but they, then they make their money from the courses and they claim they're great traders, and there's absolutely that out there. Okay. I didn't ask this question as a sales tactic. I didn't ask this question for people that are listening to buy more masterminds. Okay. If you do, great. If that's what you feel like at the end of hearing these, episodes and stuff like that, if that's something that you feel will better you, then do it. Invest in yourself. But the reason I asked this question is because it's such a toxic mindset that I see with so many people nowadays that they're so unwilling to value themselves and their education and their time, so that they like to, then push that off onto other people. Okay. So if you aren't happy in your job, if you don't like what you do, it doesn't mean you have to learn how to trade, right? That's not what I'm selling right now. I'm selling you on a concept, okay, right now, is that there is more out there for you, whether it's trading, whether it's, again, building a business, whether it's learning a new skill so you can change from one career path to another. You don't have to be stuck, okay? You do not have to be stuck where you are ever. There's always other options out there. Yes, there are free mediums to learn. You can go on YouTube and find a ton of stuff out there to learn how to trade, and eventually you might get it, right? You can learn, from all sorts of people who, claim to do this stuff for free for the good of, mankind, right? And then, you follow them for a while and you realize there's a snake in the grass. You can do whatever you need to do, okay? There's good information even on YouTube. Like, I'm not even going to say it's bad, but it's like drinking from a fire hose. Okay. So, there are things out there that if you invest your time, your money, your energy into, that can change your life dramatically, whether that's trading or something totally unrelated to trading. But if you're willing to do the extraordinary, you can become extraordinary. If you aren't willing to do any of those things, then just sit on the sidelines and continue to watch and, bitch and moan about who's, outpacing you. There's nobody out there that can't do something better with their life with an investment of some sort, time, money, or anything, or effort, right? And those currencies, time and money, right, are often, a sliding scale. This is a really weird motion that I wish I wouldn't have done. Now this looks like I'm milking a cow on the TV. But so, like, you can spend more time to save money. You can spend more money to save time. But nobody that's worth anything, right, values themselves at nothing. So if you say, like, well, Aaron and John are so great, they should be willing to teach for free because if they love teaching so much and they want to help people, well, they can help a whole lot more people by doing it for free. Bull. Because we used to have free education and free server in the beginning of our Discord. We used to have free, resources constantly. And you know how many people used them? None. Hardly anybody ever utilized any of that information. Okay? It was there. It was available. It was free for the taking. And it's the same Stock Dads Academy that's available now, right? But there's stuff that when you don't put any like skin in the game, we talk about paper trading, okay? Aaron mentioned paper trading and how, like, and John too, when you paper trade, you don't have any real money in the game. You don't feel it. You don't feel the loss, right? You don't feel tied to it. It's not real to you. Okay. So until you learn that it takes something tangible from you to get real value from something, you're never going to get anywhere in life. So I'm going to get off my soapbox here. This is not a mastermind sales course. Okay. Like, if it's mastermind that you think and learning from JT and Aaron and futures trading will expedite your journey and that's what you want to do it. If it's not, save your money and put it somewhere else that's going to better your life. Okay. But don't sit there and act like a victim. Don't sit there and act like you're being, held down or left behind. The only body that's leaving anybody behind is yourself. Okay. I'm done. Sorry, I had to rant for a second there because I hear it all the time and I don't get it often to talk about it. So, I just feel like people need to understand that at some point, the ball is in their court with anything in life and they just have to make a decision. So, thank you so much, Mike. I could talk to you for hours. I love hearing your story. People that are in our Discord can obviously catch you in there as well. Monarch. We've got JT and Aaron. Thank you guys as always. They will be running a mastermind. This was not a sales course, even though it may have came across that way, but I hope this was motivational for some people to just see, what a journey in trading can look like, even if they don't go and follow that same path, right?
Hey, DJ, if I could chime in real quick, just on something you said, and I'm not, I don't self-promote my past very much because it is my past life. But when you're talking about the victim and being stuck and all that stuff, my whole existence from the age of 9 until 18, I was told there has never been in the history of history NHL player drafted from the state of Indiana, especially a goaltender, right? What are you thinking? What are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. It's not going to happen. You need to go play basketball. You need to go play football. You need to go do anything. Well, my name now is in the Hockey Hall of Fame for being the first goaltender ever from the state of Indiana drafted the National Hockey League. So I agree with what you're saying wholeheartedly if we take out that victim, it's my circumstances. I could have used, it's the state I grew up in. It's, it's the people around me. I didn't have the greatest coaching. I didn't have or you can just ignore it and do it anyway. Right. And I really appreciate you going down that road with the victim mentality thing, because there's a great quote. It's by Eric Thomas, I believe. It says, someone somewhere has succeeded with the exact same circumstances you have right now. And I really admire and I appreciate you going down that road on the soapbox for a little bit. I really do.
I appreciate that. And there's a quote, I don't know who said it, but one that always sticks with me, and I'm kind of like I'm like a competitive type, I wasn't a professional athlete, but I have that competition, that fire in me where it's just like, you don't tell me I can't do something, but there's a quote by somebody where it's like, if you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to do it twice and take pictures. And I think that's the mentality that more people need to adopt, and just become your own inner badass and just don't let anybody push you down, tell you can't do something. I don't care if it's hard. I don't care if it's unrealistic or if it's, the 99% of people fail at trading. I don't give a flying, what it is that somebody wants to tell you can't do. If you feel like you can do it and you want to do it, and that's what you want to achieve, and that's what you're passionate about, then go get it. So again, whatever it is, it doesn't need to be trading. Go get it. But I gotta get off here because I can literally.
One thing on.
Go ahead.
To Aaron's point, to your point, you can change everything in a year. That's what I learned from another great mentor that I respect outside of trading. You can change everything in a year. So if you make the decision to learn something, a new skill, trading, whatever it is, I'm telling you for a fact, you can do it. It doesn't matter the circumstance. If you want it bad enough, you can do it.
100%, dude. I started this Discord in 2020. I didn't know how to trade. I still have never really learned how to trade because I've grown this thing into a multi-million-dollar business, but I learned how to do it from freaking nothing. And I built a sick team that I'm super proud of. And I'm unapologetic about being pumped about sharing these guys and their stories. And it's doable for literally anybody. So period, cut, end of sentence. Thank you guys so much for being here, because I want to go run through a brick wall right now and go accomplish some more dreams and stuff, because I'm just hyped up. But I love you guys. Thank you so much for being on.
Thanks,
John DJ, and Aaron,
Mike,
you guys are awesome.
You, Mike.
Mike, Mike, you're the man. Thank you for joining us. Guys, if you aren't already, in our Discord, check it out. Stock Dads is called the Discord, and these guys are running our futures division. So Futures Dads, jump in the Discord. We're gonna have links in the bio, and then obviously, if you do want to be in their mastermind, that is something you want to pursue. Jump on that wait list. Link in the mastermind as well. As Mike can share, can attest, it will expedite your journey. And these guys are special at what they do. So if that's what you want to pursue, they're there as well. But otherwise, thank you guys. We love you. And this has been the Stock Sustainable Podcast. We are out. Thank you guys. Peace.